In some respects, the rap game is like the drug hustle of back in the days. There is not much distinction. That is why it is filled with hostile takeovers, assassinations, and violent action at times. None of this is settled in a court of law. A lot of it is settled on the streets, as we have seen, where there is loads of money to be made, competition abounds, and when people don't know how to do business, bad things happen. Just like the drug game is filled with kingpins, mid level men and women, and low level street dealers, it is the same thing with the rap game. You have your upper echelon leaders, and you have your middlemen, and you have your hustlers at the bottom. Quite to the contrary, and as much as they'll have you believe that most rappers and people at the upper echelon are hood and street, they really aren't. A lot of them come from very good backgrounds, have business intuition, and that is why they run the show. Don't get me wrong, some actually sing about what they've seen and have done, but they are in the minority. Now, this gets me to Larry Jackson. He's a prominent music producer and a big honcho. But in some respects, he is a pawn in a bigger game. Now, no matter how good of a producer you are, there is a sort of bilateral relationship to get your music to the market. Now, there's a whole team doing the marketing, contracts, and distribution, among other things. These are the people who usually you don't see or hear about, but their impact and their contribution to the whole scheme is significant. And they themselves get a lot of money for doing what they're doing. Now, a lot of the times, the rappers, the producers, what they produce and what gets to market is not determined by them. It is an industry thing. And that does not absolve producers and rappers from their responsibility in propagating some of the most vile, disgusting, sexually explicit, and downright trashy music. Now, Larry Jackson facilitates a lot of that music getting to market. Unfortunately, a lot of that music gets to very young, impressionable minds, and in turn, forges the sort of mentality that they have. Now, a lot of you are going to say that music doesn't influence you, and we have seen that that is totally wrong. Quite to the contrary, music does influence you, especially if you are a young, impressionable mind. There is always a bigger honcho. So, Larry Jackson answers to bigger bosses. He answers to industry heads, in particular, his liberal overlords. These are the people who truly decides what gets the market and what doesn't. Now, none of this is an accident, but is part of a grand scheme. The reason I believe it's part of a grand scheme directed at Black America and Black community across the globe is because I don't see white music producers or music producers from other races propagating the garbage and decadence that is propagated to the Black community. So call me a conspiracy theorist, But I have a very, very strange feeling that none of this is a coincidence. Now, I do understand part of the motivation for doing what they do. I do also understand Mr. Jackson's motivation. It's money, loads of it, cash. I am particularly disappointed in Mr. Jackson because he knows better. If you look at his background, he came from an exceptional background, an exceptional home. But I also understand that the people he's propagating this music to, as much as we would like to think, he doesn't identify with them. He's an elitist. So he doesn't feel any obligation to ensure that what he propagates to them is in their best interests. Keep in mind, his overlords are the ones really running the show. Now, the overlords are very, very smart. They know that if they culturally capture the American black and the rest of the world takes its cues from American black culture, in particular black community across the globe. So as I said, his overlords understand that once you capture the American black youth, then you've got the black youth across the globe by the cojones. Larry Jackson lacks consciousness, true consciousness, but in some respects, his upbringing does not allow him to see beyond his nose. He doesn't truly understand the impact of what he's doing is having on young black youth. If he did, he would not be doing it. And I know what you're going to say. Why are you being hard on the brother? He's just trying to eat. And if he wasn't doing it, somebody else would. These guys are basically profiteering from social crack, the sort that is filled with rhymes, seductive beats, and girls shaking their booty. It doesn't mean that other races don't know how to shake their booty and whine, but they will have none of it being propagated to their youth because they understand the implication. Ultimately, we are the ones sustaining the lifestyle. We pay people to ensure our own destruction. Then we turn around and we say, look, the white man, it's the problem.